Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into ONeill's Grill for our second feature today as we have JMU women's basketball coach Kenny Brooks with us here this afternoon. We normally will have Coach Brady here on these Mondays as well, but the Dukes on the road tonight facing the West Virginia Mountaineers. That game is a 7 o'clock tip-off, and safe travels to those heading that way later this afternoon. We do have Coach Brooks. Yesterday, the season opened, the 14th, under the direction of this Waynesboro native. Some people don't know that he is from Waynesboro. Interesting conversation about that yesterday. We had Coach Brooks. But 2,201 in attendance yesterday at the Convocation Center as that record continues to build and build. The Dukes playing before more than 2K every home game. 88-30, the win over Longwood. And we do have some good notes here from Devin Howard. 58-point victory, the fourth largest victory in JMU's modern era of basketball. Third largest victory ever at the Convocation Center, and the largest margin of victory for Coach Kenny Brooks. Just some facts there, Coach, but from your perspective, what did you and the Dukes take away from Sunday's ball game?
Well, obviously, I hadn't read these notes, and it's pretty impressive, but from a coach's standpoint, I feel like we have a lot of work to do. But it was an opportunity for us to get out on the real stage. I saw some kids playing for the very first time to see what they could do. I saw a lot of kids playing in different roles for the first time, just kind of wondering what they could do. So it was a really good opportunity for us to get a good start. I thought we did so. It's on to the next one. We don't have a whole lot of time to cherish it or think about it a lot. We've got another opponent coming up tomorrow, and we're going to have to get ready for that.
Kenny, let's go back to when the sad news, of course, about Precious Hall no longer being available for you this year, and then having to ask everybody else to be more of themselves to kind of make up the difference from what Precious brings to the floor. Did you see good signs of that yesterday, even with the lopsided victory?
I did. One of the things that we even talked about at halftime, but I've also talked with my staff and even the team throughout the whole preseason, is that I'm not looking for the end result right now. I'm looking at who I can depend on in certain situations as we continue to go on with this season. I wanted to see if Jasmine Guathmy was going to be able to get comfortable with taking 19, 20 shots in a game and continue to do it throughout the whole basketball game and be comfortable with it. I wanted to see how Ashley Perez was going to be when we're running plays for her, was she going to be comfortable, and so on down the list, even down to the freshmen, to see if they were going to be nervous, see if they were going to be able to go out and produce. And I thought we saw a lot of good things from that yesterday, and I've been very proud of this team, the way they've handled the whole situation with Precious. And I think it's, just a tribute to our program that you can have someone of her caliber go down, and really we love Precious, and we know what an integral part to our program that she is, but no one panicked. No one panicked. They felt very sad for Precious, but it was almost next man up mentality, and everyone else, they didn't feel sorry for themselves for a couple of days. It was like, okay, Precious is not going to be here. We have to step up. We have to do things. Goals stayed the same. Expectations stayed the same. And I think what you're seeing now is a team that is trying to form their identity. And but I really have been impressed with the way that they've started the season to where they are now, and hopefully that growth continues.
Of course, it was a career-tying high for Jasmine Guathmy. Started off really red hot, had 11 points hardly before anybody had a chance to warm up the seats there at the combo yesterday. Finished with the 22, and then Savannah Felgemacher with her nice debut, 17 points and 12 rebounds. But I want to talk a little bit actually about Angelaickens yesterday. I gave you that window of from the time Precious was hurt until game one, but I'm going to open up that window more. Where Angelaickens is now as a college basketball player compared to where she and you were butting heads when she was a rookie here with the Dukes.
A girl named Muff, or whatever they wanted to call it. It's been tremendous, and you're going to have to help me. My staff's going to have to help me to make sure we praise her, after she plays extremely well, because to me it's becoming the norm. And I just almost expect that from her and what she does, and I really don't get wowed by her performance until I really go back and watch it, because I'm just accustomed to her doing the things that she does, and there's so many things that she does that people don't really see live. You have to watch it on tape or just understanding. She makes me calm. I'm probably as calm on the bench I've ever been in my tenure. And a lot of that has to do with her, because I know that she understands exactly what we want, when we want it, how we want it. She goes out and she executes it. She has a great leadership mentality. I don't mean this in any bad way as a discredit to anyone else who's played here, but I really think she's the best point guard that I've had. And that's saying a lot because we've had some really good ones. And the way that she orchestrates the whole game is just magnificent. And she takes care of everyone around her. And this year she's going to be relied upon a little bit more to score. And I think that she's shown that she's capable of doing that. And I think she's going to have a tremendous year.
Yeah, a couple of questions about that. One, her balance yesterday of deciding when she wanted to take it to the rim and when she was going to dish off. And I will challenge fans to, as you say, orchestrate as she orchestrates the game. We see her very flashy passes, and those are the ones that stand out with a highlight. But you can see her thinking 2 and 3 plays ahead, getting Ashley Perez the open three, almost stepping off your bench to get it at times.
Well, I mean, I said it last year, and I don't think Precious discredited my comments at all. I thought Precious probably should have split her Player of the Year trophy right in half and given Muff the other half because Muff, assisted on probably 80% of Precious's shots, and it's just tremendous. What she does, her floor vision, finding the open players, understanding who's hot, understanding where kids like to get the basketball. And that's why I can make the bold statement like I made that, she's probably the best point guard that I've had because she can do those kind of things and it looks effortless. And I just love the way she plays. She's a calming force for me out on the floor. And this year with her, having to step up and score a little bit more, I think she's comfortable in that role as well. So I think we're going to see the best of Muff Mickens.
We did see a lot of newcomers with a lot of minutes yesterday. And Coach Brooks, I was pretty pleased with their poise and composure. Their first time underneath the lights yesterday as well. I know there are things that they can certainly improve upon. We don't see them in practice like you do, but they did pretty well yesterday, I thought, collectively.
All things considered, yes, they did. They're very talented. High expectations for them coming in. Obviously, with Precious's departure or a vacancy, they were going to be thrust into the role a little bit sooner than we expected, like a Logan Reynolds. She was probably going to be, Muff's sole backup this year, and now she's forced to play a little bit on the wing. Her and Muff out there together, it's a dynamic combination because both of them handle the ball and they see the floor so well. Logan didn't show it yesterday, but she has a really nice outside shot, and so we're kind of prodding her along to be a little bit more aggressive than she has been, but I think that's going to be a dynamic duo. Kayla Cooper Williams, I think her performance got overshadowed, because Savannah had 17 and 12, but Kayla came off with 8 points, 8 rebounds, and I think she had 4 blocks. Did a fantastic job. And then, of course, Savannah did a great job. Savannah was just in my office, and the first thing we talked about was that she probably left some points on the table a little bit. She missed a couple of easy layups. But just her ability to catch and finish and also to stretch the floor like you saw her yesterday, knocking down a 3. I had a lot of people ask me, did she mean to take that 3? And I said, yeah, absolutely. That's why we recruited her. But she's going to be a really good player for us as well. But all 3 of those young ladies are well beyond their years as far as maturity. They understand the schemes. They know all of our plays. They know what we're trying to do. They're going to make some freshman mistakes throughout the season, but I'll take that with the knowledge. And, the future is definitely bright for this program.
Defensively, you limited the Lancers to 2 for 25, 8% in the the third and fourth quarters of the ball game, the second half, if you would.
See, these quarters are messing everybody
Yeah,
up.
they certainly do. In many regards, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more later on. But, again, you obviously the better team athletically and what have you, but were the Dukes in the right place at the right time? Were they doing the things that you wanted to see, at least in terms of where they were on the floor?
They were. They're ahead of schedule. They really are. With Jasmine and Muff Mickens, they are probably 2 of the smartest defensive players I've ever had. Along with Nikki Newman and Toya Jiggets, a couple of those kids. They erase a lot of mistakes, and it's sometimes you think of erasing mistakes by somebody blocking a shot going in, but they'll do certain things. Longwood made an adjustment. We were switching, and they tried to make an adjustment and try to roll our guards in to post them up. And Jasmine was there probably 90% of the time to get Muff out of there, and that's something that we started doing a couple years ago. And those kids, they just perfected it. So they did a really good job. The freshmen are starting to understand how to do those things. So I don't think we get enough credit defensively. And that's been our staple really for the last 3 years. We get after them. We talk to them about defending. And if you can defend, the offense will come. And, when they get steals, they get blocks, we let them have free reign, go play on the offensive end. Seems to excite them. It's kind of like having my daughters at home. I'll give them a treat if they clean their room. It's kind of that mentality, but they do a fantastic job. And I don't think we get, sometimes people look at stats, and we might not be the number one team statistically, but we have more possessions in a game. And so therefore, people are going to score more points and whatnot. But I thought yesterday, the 30 points they scored, I think it was a direct result of our defense and not, the talent discrepancy or whatnot. But I thought we played a really good defensive basketball game.
Let's open it up to other members of the media with us here at O'Neill's Grill.
Coach, you're coming off a week where, just last Wednesday you picked up your newest batch of recruits, and then yesterday you had the performance of rookies the way they did. What does it say about the program as a whole when you're in a position that you can talk about 2016, 2017, 2018, so on, and look at the future with a smile?
It's remarkable, but I think it's an attestament to our program, our coaches, the hard work, the reputation that we've built. I can't even talk about names, but we had a prominent recruit there yesterday that probably, people might question, why are you looking at James Madison with the other schools that are on their list? But I think that's the reputation of our program. And we've gone out and we do a really good job of identifying what kids will fit our scheme. Savannah Felgemacher, she wasn't very highly recruited, and we took her, and because I knew that she had a knack for putting the ball in the basket, I knew that she could stretch the defense. And she's come in and she's shown that she can be that type player. And I think she'll be a really strong player for us throughout her career. The kids that we signed, last week, I think there's a couple in there that will have the ability to have freshman years like these young kids are going to have this year. So I just think that we go out and we understand what type of kid we want, what type of kid is going to fit our system. We don't pay attention, no offense to the recruiting services. We know what fits our system and what we want. And these kids come in, and I think our staff does a really good job of developing their talents to fit our system, and then they blossom.
Yeah, what clicked for Savannah yesterday in a way that she was able to really embrace the bright lights of the convo on that stage?
I think she's naive enough to know that she's not supposed to be performing like that as a freshman. She's very confident in herself and her abilities. So she just doesn't know that she's supposed to be nervous, or she's not supposed to get a double-double. And she goes out and she sees her opportunities, and she probably took a couple bad shots, maybe one or two, but when you're playing that hard, we're going to let you figure it out and reward her. But it did a great job. I love her demeanor. She thinks she's one of the best players whenever she's out on the basketball court, and she has a lot to learn. She had a little rough patch when we first started, but I think that she was humbled. She was humbled early on. It's probably a good way of putting it. And then she's learned from her mistakes, and she's going to continue to get better.
Your kids seem to be very excited to be back on the court, but I believe 4 games in the span of 8 days. Easier said than done, but it also includes a cross-country trip to UCLA. How do you prepare a team for a big stretch just in the start of the season?
Well, it is. It wasn't ideal, but, sometimes when you just got to fit them in. We knew we had to go cross-country, and that was the only time UCLA had, and we tried to get it later, but, it is what it is. And then the Liberty game following that, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough, 4 games in 8 days. You would want to try to limit some of your kids, the older kids, early on, but with the excitement of the new season, they want to play every minute, every second. But we're going to have to just try to limit their, the wear and tear on their legs a little bit. And that's hard to do with my seniors, because they just love playing. They love playing. They always want to be out there. They always want to be helping, coaching, and whatnot. But this is where my job gets a little bit difficult as a coach. I have to curb that enthusiasm a little bit and make them sit down, and to try to make Jazz Gwathmey and Muff Mickens and Ashley Perez sit down. That's a tough task. But they have to understand that we really need them on the back end to be successful and finish this week out, because it is going to be very tough.
Kurt mentioned the quarter system. How difficult and different was it for you and maybe some of your older players who've not done that in a while, and the length of the timeouts as well?
The players are fine. They've adapted very, very smoothly, very quickly. And I've said this before, but you look at they're used to, in high school, they play quarters. So they're used to that. It's just me that's not used to it. And there's a lot of different things that weigh in my decision process. When you're coaching young minds, sometimes it's a stigma that you have to get over. And, there's if the old format, if I didn't get a young lady in the game in the first 10 minutes, there was no stigma to it. All right, but now, really, if I don't get her in the first 10 minutes, she's thinking to herself, well, I didn't play the first quarter. So now she might be a little messed up. And those are the mental games that you have to deal with. So it is a little bit difficult. And then sometimes I think we had maybe 9 or 10 players who played in the first quarter. And so do we get a rhythm? So I'm always second guessing myself. We were up 24-2, and they go on a 8 to whatever run to finish the quarter. And I'm thinking, okay, did I have the bad, rotations out there or whatnot? So it's just going to be a process that we have to get used to. I don't know if I will ever get used to 2 minutes and 45 seconds for every timeout. I don't know what you guys do during that 2 minutes and 45
I
seconds.
loved it. I went up and got popcorn one time. Came back, got a drink, but later, yeah, it's great.
Unless Jeff Bourne is listening right now, and we can get a jumbotron in the next couple days, so that maybe he can put a little short story up there while the timeouts are going on. But it is like I will meet with my staff to try to figure out what we want to do or talk about some adjustments. And normally I have to listen very quickly, get in, get my message across, and then hurry them out. And, now we're doing the same routine, and I'm getting in, I'm talking to them, and I hear my assistant coach in the back, and they'll say 1 minute, and I'm like, I don't have anything else to say, So I just start making up stuff, and from here on out, I'm probably just going to have them go stretch and, do something to keep loose. But it's very long. It's very long. I think that's a CAA rule. I think they're trying to mirror what the NCAA is doing. But I think the NCAA does that because they have so much sponsorship when you get to the NCAA tournament that they have to get that on. I hope, I'm lobbying for them to cut it down, because when we go to UCLA, I don't think it's going to be 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So that the going back and forth is going to be a little bit difficult.
You talked about some things you wanted to see your team improve upon. What are 1 or 2 of those that you really feel like you need to improve upon quickly before tomorrow night?
I thought that I thought we lost our luster a couple times. I thought we came out like gangbusters, and we were excited. We were playing both ends. We were executing. We got up a big lead, and just like any other team, you get a big lead, there's a lull, and I thought we had a little bit of a lull once in the first half, once in the second half. Especially in the second half, I thought at the end we had I think 6 turnovers in 8 possessions, and we ended up with 15 for the game. But I just thought we lost our focus, and a lot of that has to do with the lineups that we're putting out there. But overall, we watched the film, and I thought we did a really good job. Longwood's not the opponent that UCLA will be or Liberty. I know we do play Morgan State next, but we have to continue to get sharp. I think the young kids getting out there, and I don't think we dropped off very much when we had the young kids out on the court. As a matter of fact, I looked out there once, and we had 3 freshmen on the court at one time, a sophomore, and then I think a senior, and that was in the heart of the game. And I thought they did a really good job. So it's just natural progression. We have to get better at some things, but I really like this team. I really do. I like the way how far they've come in such a short time. There's no excuses, and they go out and they play, and they're a very confident group.
Coach, one other question that certainly, hopefully doesn't happen, but when you're trying to find your rhythm offensively, are those longer breaks, particularly if you may be struggling against an opponent, trying to find your groove in a game, is that a concern to you? Chris Brooks had actually mentioned that yesterday to me as an observation of how that might play into the way the game is played, those long breaks.
It does. It just takes you out of any type of they're almost like amnesia timeouts. Whether you're on a good run, and then you're sitting down for so long, you really kind of forgot what the feel of the game is like. But I'm sure we'll get used to it. But I think there are some advantages to it for some people. If you're not very deep, you'll get plenty of time to rest. If you're only playing 6 or 7 kids, get plenty of time to rest. But when we can go 10 deep, we don't want to rest. We want them resting on the bench while the game is still going on, so that we can wear people down. So I think it's definitely an advantage for people who are not as deep. But it just there's so many things that I just don't like about it. They talk about the pace of play, and I don't know why they want to get people in and get people out so quick. There's a lot of great things going on with our pep. I think our pep band gets a lot of airtime.
They
now.
do, yep.
Yeah, they're good, but I just really liked the format. I was a fan of the other, and I don't think the game was over any quicker. It was 3:30, and I looked at the clock, and it was 3:30, and we were just going into the fourth quarter. Normally, games are about to be over with at that time, so maybe they'll make an adjustment. I'll tell you another thing I don't really like is like switching back from men to women and watching scores. I'm a score watcher, and so I'm watching a men's score, and they'll say they're in their second half, but I'm thinking second quarter, and and so I don't know what's going on. So it's when your mind starts going a little bit, when you get a little bit older, you don't want to have to make decisions based on little things like that. But it's just an adjustment, and fans are going to have to adjust, and we coaches are going to have to adjust.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Congratulations on the win yesterday as the Dukes defeated the Longwood Lancers. Coming up this week, we'll have the Dukes tomorrow night at home against Morgan State. You can see that game on Matazone HD Sportsnet. We'll begin pregame coverage at about 6:45. You can also hear it on the JMU and TELUS Wireless Sports Network, and that includes 1360 WHBG AM as well as 101.3 FM. And pregame coverage with David Taylor and Nikki Newman begins at 6:30. The Dukes at UCLA on Friday night. That's a 10 o'clock start here on the East Coast. And then next Monday, we'll have the Flames of Liberty University in town. Thank you once again for joining us this week. We'll be back again next week for more football and basketball here at O'Neill's.